Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nico, the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm bringing you guys Week 13 defenses to stream for fantasy football in 2020. Inside of this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 6 defenses that you guys can find off the waiver wire to add to your roster this week and eat a W like your name was famous, Jameis Winston. Now, before I get into this, I'd like to ask if that at any point inside this video you guys end up enjoying it, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We are approaching the playoffs, and it is time to buckle down and win your goddamn championship. So hop on board before it is too late. Before we get into it, please make sure you guys subscribe if you are new, and if you are not new, you watch all the time. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you all, even if you're new. It means a lot to me. If you guys could please hit that subscribe button, or if you're already been subscribed, hit that like button, please. I would really appreciate it. So let's get into it. Week 13 defenses to stream. We begin with the Seattle Seahawks versus the New York Football Giants. Now, obviously, we have not seen the Seattle Seahawks defense play as I'm recording this at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they could easily get ran in this game, right, by the Eagles, but I doubt it. I think the Seattle defense looks stout in that matchup, but how they play against the Philadelphia Eagles really has no effect, in my opinion, on why I like the Seattle Seahawks defense next week. Now, if Daniel Jones ends up actually suiting up on Sunday for this matchup, then I'm kind of fading away from this pick, but based upon what I saw, it seems like Daniel Jones will miss at least a couple of games, and Colt McCoy is going to be the starting quarterback of the New York Football Giants. While the Seattle Seahawks defense hasn't looked amazing, at the beginning of the year, they looked like complete and utter dog shit. They were getting bent over by every single team imaginable. The New York Football Jets would have put up 7,000 points up against them. Now, they played up against their most recent game was Week 11, obviously. Again, they play versus Philly, so we don't know what's going to happen there. You may, though, if you're watching this the next day after the game ends up happening. Week 11 up against the Arizona Cardinals. 3 sacks, 1 safety, and 21 points allowed. I put a lot of emphasis on the 21 points allowed because that's one of the more potent offenses in the NFL, in the Arizona Cardinals, and they really slowed them down in that matchup. The New York Football Giants played up against the Cincinnati Bengals last week, and the Cincinnati Bengals defense even looked all right in that matchup. 1 fumble recovery as well as 19 points allowed in that game, Week 12 against the Giants. The biggest difference between the Cincinnati defense and the Seattle Seahawks defense is one thing. It's fucking coaching. The coaching is much better in Seattle, so even if the players aren't as amazing as you would want, they will still play well and play for the coaching over there. So I think that the Seattle Seahawks defense is going to play very stout up against the New York Football Giants, especially since I feel like Daniel Jones is going to be missing, and big man Colt McCoy should be starting under center for them. Next, guys, here is the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, again, we have yet to see how the Eagles play. Do they actually end up fucking starting short man Jalen Hurts, or do they stay with Carson Wentz? It's actually something that I'd like to know, but either way, the Green Bay Packers defense looked too legit to quit last week up against the Chicago Bears. Now, I know what you might think. Nick, the fucking Philadelphia Eagles are better than the Chicago Bears. Are they? Are they really? Are you centered on that? Because I don't know. I feel like they're kind of even. The Eagles' record is much worse, obviously, but the Chicago Bears, they fucking suck too. 3 sacks, 2 INTs, 1 fumble recovery, 1 touchdown, and 25 points allowed up against Kissin Titties Mitchell Trubisky last week. The Green Bay Packers defense is pretty solid. Cleveland defense versus Philadelphia. The last time the Eagles played, obviously, again, they play tonight up against Seattle, but we don't know what happens there. Cleveland against the Eagles in Week 11, 5 sacks, 2 INTs, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 safety. The Cleveland defense got their ass fucked in by Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon last week, okay? Up against the Jaguars played against the Browns, and Glennon bent them over the table. The Giraffe Man himself. That motherfucker looks like the guy who's the mascot of Toys R Us. I'm not sure how old you guys are, but if you're a Toys R Us kid, I don't want to grow up. I want to be a Toys R Us kid type of deal. If you've seen those ads, you've seen that crazy looking giraffe. That's what Mike Glennon's fucking neck looks like. He absolutely toasted this Cleveland defense, and the Eagles could not say the exact same. The Eagles got fucked by Myles Garrett and friends in Cleveland, even if Myles Garrett wasn't playing in that game. I don't care. The Philadelphia offense sucks. The Packers defense is good. To me, this is a no-brainer. Next game here, the Vegas Raiders at the New York Football Jets. This one is also a no-brainer. You have a defense, while the Raiders defense literally sucked against the Falcons. The Falcons go from doing nothing, absolutely nothing, looking like they were dead before they even showed up to the game against the Saints. Then last week, they took the Raiders to Pound Town, USA. 1 sack, 1 INT, 37 points allowed. 37 points allowed. Matt Ryan dripped all over the Vegas defense, but this week they get the Jets, and no defense has done bad against the Jets, except for the Chargers, and even then, they did all right. Miami defense, week 12 against the Jets, 3 sacks, 2 INTs, and 3 points allowed, while the Dolphins defense is like 90 fucking rungs on a ladder ahead of the Raiders defense. It still shouldn't matter that much because the Jets offense is just so bad. Adam Gase is simply so tone deaf that he goes into the game an hour before the game and switches it. You know what? I'm going to call the plays. Nice job calling the plays because you held that L to my Miami Dolphins. Fuck you, Adam Gase. He's a terrible coach. The Raiders defense, while not very good, will look good here up against the Jets matchup. Next matchup here, we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I know, Nick, you just said that the Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely bumfucked the Cleveland defense, Nick. I understand. But I don't think they're going to do that again. They fired their head coach. They fired their GM. They are cleaning house in Jacksonville. Just kidding. For a second, I was thinking about the Detroit Lions, but they did end up firing their GM after that game. They didn't even let his seat get warm on the bus. They just got rid of him. All right? So they're cleaning it out there. Will they be able to beat the Vikings? I don't know. I don't think so. And I think the Vikings defense is not that bad. Week 12 against the Carolina Panthers, 1 INT and 15 points allowed. I just feel like the Jacksonville offense had a straight-up anomaly in that game. I just feel like we will not see that again repeating on this week up against the Minnesota Vikings. Cleveland defense up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 25 points allowed. It just seemed like they just thought this was going to be a straight-up cakewalk. Like, they came into this game thinking Mike Glennon ain't gonna do shit, and they kind of looked past the game, right? We're the Browns. We're pretty good. Let's look past the Jaguars. Shouldn't have done that. They still ended up winning, but the Minnesota Vikings are in must-win category every single week at this point if they want to make the playoffs, so I like them here up against the Jaguars. I think their defense is just good enough to get it done. Next defense here, we got the Chi-Town Bears versus the Detroit Lions. Now, I know you just watched last night the Bears get railed by Aaron Rodgers. The Bears needed Aaron Rodgers to sell them some State Farm after that one because it was a murder. They're going to need some big-time life insurance because Matt Nagy has been slayed, as did Mitchell Trubisky. But the Bears' defense, there was really nothing they could do in that one. Whatever his fucking name is, I almost just called him Marc-Andre Fleury, but that's not his name. Matt LaFleur, Marc-Andre Fleury, old goalie of the Penguins, new goalie of the Vegas Knights. If you guys watch hockey, I'm not sure. I highly doubt it. Hockey's not a very popular sport in the United States. I'm also from the United States. Go Devils. But with that said, Bears versus the Detroit Lions. I just feel like Detroit's offense was like good and bad at the exact same time, right? Like Stafford still got it done for fantasy purposes. AP got it done. Marvin Jones played all right. But overall, as a whole team, didn't look great, and they just fired their head coach. And I just feel like the Bears defense is a little too good to get absolutely railed by the Green Bay Packers and then not bounce back up against the Detroit Lions. Houston defense, week 12, up against the Detroit Lions. 4 sacks, 1 INT, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 touchdown, and 25 points allowed. And to put it plain and simple, the Houston defense is like the sea that Moses fucking parted in the Bible. I'm not sure if that's in the Bible. It is in the Jewish text, though. Not trying to drop some fucking religious stuff here, but that's what he does. He spreads the Red Sea. It's like a fucking turnstile. When you go into... They just don't do anything. They literally are such a shit-tier defense, and the Detroit Lions just let them look good against them, so I like the Bears defense here up against the Detroit Lions. And final game, final team, we've got the reverse, Uno reverse, Detroit Lions at the Chi-Town Bears. Trubisky looked bad. He threw a bunch of touchdowns, but he also threw a bunch of INTs. 3 sacks, 2 INTs, 1 fumble recovery, 1 tutty, and 25 points allowed. That was the Green Bay defense versus the Chicago Bears. We already touched on that. Detroit's defense, week 12 versus Houston. 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, and 35 points allowed. But the difference is there. They're playing against Deshaun Watson versus playing up against Mr. Kissin, Titties, Mitchell Trubisky. So I expect a bounce back from the Detroit defense. I'm not calling them the greatest thing since sliced bread. But if you're stuck in a deeper kind of league, there's not many defenses available. You could look a lot worse than for the Detroit Lions this week up against the Chicago Bears in Chi-Town, Chicago. So, thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying this video at any point, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate that. I love each and every single one of you motherfuckers, and I can't wait to see you guys later in tomorrow's video. Hopefully, Monday Night Football is good tonight, and I'll see you beautiful bastards with the waivers a little bit later tomorrow morning. I love you all. I really do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your guys' day. As always, good boy.